Hey, yo, I'm Wacko. I'm not obsessed, you are.
Fallout is an amazing universe. The aesthetics, the stories, the characters. I've always loved this world, even though I've never played a Fallout game.
So I thought the most logical place to start was the first one. What a great idea.
In 2007, Fallout was purchased by Bethesda, who went to turn the franchise into Skyrim, which hadn't come out yet. The games published by Bethesda are all first-person shooters, while the ones created before the purchase play very differently. This is the original Fallout. Today, it's mostly seen as a game with good ideas, but is ultimately clunky, annoying, and too difficult to get into, which is what I'll be doing. Obviously, a game this old and this dense would expect you to read the manual, so I ordered a physical copy of the game just to read it myself.
Apparently the physical release doesn't come with a manual, probably because it's over 100 pages, and I had to print it out myself through totally legal means. Sorry, Todd, I tried to do this the right way.
Page 1. Okay, screw this. The game starts by telling us that your Vault's water chip is broken, and our goal is to find a replacement.
And frankly, I think you're the only hope we have.
Okay. We're also given a lead that there's a nearby vault that we should check out to see if they have a spare we could use. However, on the way there, we find a town called Shady Sands, so we stop by, talk to a few people, and hey, this lady at the gate says she's from that other vault, and she tells us that it's been abandoned.
This is basically the main gameplay of Fallout. You go after one mission, but are stopped by people who either tell you more information about that mission, or bring you more missions.
At this point, you have no more direction as to what to do, so you might as well help out around town. The leader, Aradesh, asks you to help with some rad scorpions, so you go and... Oh, neat. Now it's up to you to figure out how to kill him. So you look around town a bit before you find Ian. Ian agrees to help you for 1,000 caps, so you proceed to sell everything you own to afford his help. And hooray, you can save the day! Sweet. What do you get out of this? Nothing. Oh, I see how it is.
This is the point of the video where I want to preface that this is all just my experience. Fallout is a very personalized game. Everyone will have different stats, decisions, and may just be luckier than me. So I didn't get a reward, but you might. I have no idea. Again, my experience.
From here on out, you'll explore the map, find new places, talk to basically everyone you can, ask every question it lets you, and then you can take on missions, find new information, and just kind of move forward. Like in this one place called Junktown, I found this doctor who was actually running an illegal cannibalism distribution. So Ian and I killed him for being evil. Or at least that's what it felt like. Actually, I just asked him for a checkup and he wanted to charge me 10 caps even though I was healthy. And when I refused, he attacked me. And then we killed him. But that sounds far less heroic, so let's stay with killing the evil cannibals. Junktown also has this really cool quest where the mayor, Killian Darkwater, hires you to take out this evil crime boss named Gizmo, but that's only if you're able to stop Killian from being assassinated. So you save him being assassinated, go kill Gizmo, and bam, you actually get a reward. Screw you, Aradesh! I wanted to get even more money, so Ian and I went to a gang hideout and just killed all of them. We managed to steal a ton of loot, which we could sell for a lot of money, and it really helped early on. But also... Ian, no! Okay, moving on. Probably my favorite quest is the one for entering the Brotherhood of Steel. I asked about joining, but they said I needed to go to the ruins south of there and get something that proved that I went. Almost directly south is this place called the Boneyard, and that has this town, Aditum? I went to talk to the mayor Zimmerman, and he wanted to reward me for killing the person who murdered his son. Okay, cool. That must be how I get the item for the Brotherhood. I go to the person that he wants dead, and she says she didn't kill Zimmerman's son, but actually he was killed by Zimmerman's colleagues. So she gives me proof that they killed him, and asks if I can help her make a trade with local arms dealers, so her team could take out those colleagues. At this point, there are so many different options. I can help her on making a path to the arms dealers. I can go show Zimmerman the proof now. I could just shoot her and get the reward from Zimmerman. Or I can get the proof she gave me and show that to the Brotherhood as evidence that I went to the town and just ignore them entirely.
Now this is the part where Fallout is really cool. When you're making progress through making decisions, forming alliances, and role-playing. But, well, if you thought that mission was cool, I lied.
I tried helping her trade with the arms dealers, but there's a ton of Deathclaw in the way, which are probably the hardest enemy in the game. I only ever managed to kill one of them with the weapons I had. Eventually I went through and traded with the arms dealers for a minigun, and then I was able to kill a ton of them. But I always ran out of ammo before they all died, so I went on this huge detour to find as much ammo as I could. But it still wasn't enough. This isn't really a feasible option at this point, so instead I just went to show Zimmerman the proof, and when he realized he was wrong, his colleagues shot him. Okay, so that's not a great option. Maybe I can just play ignorant and kill the woman, but then the entire house of people turns on me, which might have been fine, but also combat with more than one person takes forever. Everyone moves on their own time, and every action is as slow as possible. So no. How about instead of doing any of this, I could just skip everything and just go join the Brotherhood, which was my goal in the first place. So ignore all the issues and just...
You don't need to lie. Just come back when you have something.
Huh? What? I do... What do you... Huh?
This is where Fallout goes from a pretty fun role-playing game to just a confusing mess of moving parts and decision-making.
Apparently this place isn't even the place the Brotherhood was talking about. No, they were talking about something that was southeast. Why didn't they say that? The game tries to be big, open, and full of freedom, but because it's still just a video game, you can only do the things the developers specifically programmed in. So much of the game is spent trying to figure out what it lets you do. Like in this place called The Hub, you can find a water merchant, and while he doesn't have a water chip, he knows where you might find one. Necropolis, a nearby city. You go check it out, and it's full of ghouls who attack you on sight. There's literally nowhere to go, and you can't talk to anyone. So, you leave. I went back to the water merchant to tell him about Necropolis, but he didn't even seem to know what that place was. Huh? I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here. In the boneyard, when Zimmerman asks you to kill the woman, she can tell you about the conspiracy to kill his colleagues, but only if you say the right thing. You can either say you're going to kill her, or say you're going to punish her for killing Zimmerman's son, which I thought were both threats, and thus made no real difference. But actually, saying you'll kill her locks you into killing her. You're only given the other option if you mention Zimmerman. After helping Killian defeat Gizmo, I went to explore the building he was standing in, which I thought was a store, but it turns out this was his bedroom, and then he tries to kill me for entering it. How was I supposed to know that? The game isn't about having clean-cut options of what you can and can't do. Instead, it's just vague, and you can try a bunch of stuff, but most of it won't even end up working. Like, I thought it might be smart to try to kill that lady with a bomb I planted at her desk. That way I can leave before it went off, and I wouldn't get attacked by anyone. However, since I had already got the evidence from her, when I went back to Zimmerman, I couldn't tell him that I killed her. The only option I had was to give him the evidence. I don't know if this is because I had already accepted the mission, or because I blew her up instead of shooting her. I have no idea. The game's both so open that it lets you do a ton of stuff, but also doesn't really understand what you're doing. When you have smart ideas and they don't end up working time and time again, you'll eventually just stop trying them.
I literally spent hour after hour, day after day, trying to defeat the Death Claws for a mission I didn't even have to do. And it didn't even end up working. This isn't fun. I'm just going crazy.
At this point, I still have no idea where the water chip is, no idea how to join the Brotherhood. Heck, I don't even know I want to join the Brotherhood. It just seemed cool at the time. So I did the only thing that I could do. I looked it up. I wasn't having fun. I had no idea where to go, so I looked up a walkthrough.
So for as open as this game tries to be, how many places do you think you can get a water chip? Just one.
Necropolis. This stupid city. Apparently, and I don't know how you're supposed to find this out, you can enter the sewers. If you missed this one thing, you can't progress. At all. This is one of the most irritating parts of the game. However, it's not the most irritating. Do you know what is? The time limit. When you're first sent out to look for the water chip, you're told you only have 150 days to find it before your vault dies. This is probably the biggest thing stopping this game from reaching more people. This time limit makes every decision you make feel really important. time limits can work, but for a game as huge, as open, as complex as Fallout, it's just so easy to go down rabbit holes, like trying to kill swarms of Deathclaw, which will ultimately waste hours and hours of your life without even progressing you to the end. Stupid! Combine that with the fact that a ton of time passes when you're just walking on the map, and you'll be terrified of exploring, because walking to another town, finding nothing, and walking back will waste tons of in-game days. The reason I didn't want to play this game years ago was because of this time limit. I was scared I'd waste too much time on dumb stuff, and when I finally started on the last quest, I wouldn't have enough time left and softlock myself. Then I would be forced to restart the game over and try again. Before playing, I assumed I was expected to start over, so I did, repeatedly. That's right, Ian didn't just die once, he died over and over again. All of that, and the time limit isn't even that strict. You have plenty of time.
This game has so many annoying factors that if something goes wrong, I can't really tell if it's the game's fault or my own stupidity.
Like, to actually enter the Brotherhood, you gotta go to this radioactive hole. You're supposed to use rope to get in the hole, which is really annoying to find out where you're even supposed to use it. But then once you get inside, I can't even figure out how to go any deeper. I tried clicking on every edge of the hole, but is it not working because I'm clicking in the wrong spot? Maybe I need to use the elevator, but how do I get it to work? Maybe I need a separate item entirely instead of rope, but I have no idea what I'm even supposed to be doing.
Like, I could just sit here and list even more examples of how the game's annoying, but what's even the point?
There's these force fields in this warehouse which are supposed to block you, but turns out you can walk through them. Wish I knew that earlier. Once you get into the Brotherhood, you can convince them to help you attack this mutant base, but they don't even go inside, so you're gonna die. There's this cult where literally everyone is telling you to go upstairs, but you can't go upstairs, so like, what am I supposed to do? Actually beating the game is just like the rest of the game. It's a mixed bag. I managed to do some quests for the Brotherhood and get myself some power armor, which was really cool. So then I was able to blast my way into the mutant base and kill everyone. But then, the actual end of the game sees you talking to the mutant leader, and I'd heard that this was a super engaging conversation.
The conversation with the Master is nuts.
From a game about dialogue, ending with a big conversation sounds fitting. Like, throughout Fallout, you're given the ability to ask anyone any question you want, and I thought it'd be really cool for the final boss to have a bunch of dialogue, and you have to read into everything he says to figure out exactly what to say so that he doesn't kill you. But, well, this is the most boring conversation I've ever had. All the things he said, other mutants had already said. You can't ask him anything, and everything you say is just picked from a list, with most things leading to the same outcome. Like, you can choose whether or not to call him a villain, which sounds like it might change something, but no, after like 1 or 2 lines, it just goes back to the same options. No matter what you say, you're just booted into a fight. Like, a gunfight. The game about dialogue almost forces you to not end the game with dialogue. If you want to get their true ending, which does end with you just having a conversation with them, then you're required to have a ton of build-up, which would be fine as more of just an Easter egg. But the thing is, even to get the chance to do this, you'd need to have an intelligence of at least 7. Do you know what that means? Every single conversation I had, every mistake I made, every wrong decision, I could have done differently if I just had different stats. I love the idea of role-playing in dialogue, trying to figure out the best way to say things, but now, I don't even know if I can say the right things because my stats were too low. Do I need to take drugs to make myself smarter first? Is this what you want from me? Like, early in the game, I talked to this one mutant, and I said one thing that didn't work, so he attacked me, and I died, so I tried again, said the same thing, and it worked. It just rolls a dice! What am I supposed to do? This doesn't feel fair. It's not fun, like I'm trying to solve a puzzle through words. It's just annoying.
Like, I still love this universe, and even a lot of the dialogue is really good, but there's just so much garbage and confusion to the point that I don't know how to feel anymore.
At its best, when Fallout is working, you're doing stuff, have goals, options. It's amazing. But when it's not working, you're wandering around, reloading saves, and struggling to get anything done. It's awful. And that wouldn't be so bad if this wasn't the majority of my experience. The game just has too much annoyance everywhere. Every single menu is awful to use quickly. The fact there's no autosaves means you're required to do it yourself, which means you're basically incentivized to cheat. As much as I enjoy the world, characters, dialogue, decision making, and yes, some of the actual moving around gameplay, I hated so much of, well, everything else. The random encounters of half a dozen enemies, the confusion in just about everything I do, the way no system worked the way that I assumed it would. The game's not terrible. It was actually quite fun to talk to all these characters, do quests, make strategies. There are many things that I looked up that I probably shouldn't have, because it did ruin a lot of the fun, but if I had to do it over again, I'd probably make the same decision. So much of the game is confusing, and doesn't really work in any reasonable way, so I looked it up. I think this game is best experienced with a friend, someone who just knows a bit about the game and can prevent you from making any huge mistakes, so you aren't worried about every minute decision.
I've heard this game gets better on a second playthrough, and I believe that.
There were a ton of things I did or didn't do out of fear of messing up. Tons of side stuff that I didn't touch, or choices I made that may have been more fun if I did something different. I was just so scared that I'd make mistakes and lose a ton of progress, mostly because of the timer. Part of me wants to replay the game, now that I know how a lot of the systems work, and could just optimize a route, and, well, roleplay, without the fear of missing vital information. And then I slapped sense into myself because I realized that I don't want to look at this game for at least another 10 years.
Also, I need you all to experience this game. Trust me.
Honestly, I probably will play the game again. It won't be nearly as irritating as this time, and maybe I might have more fun. I might stream it if I can figure out how to do that. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.